Hello, it's the captain here again. I've got something to say again because I've been working on using my mind to beat these harassers, Because in the beginning, I was right into sort of trying to use technology, using my stereo, using my phone, things like that, and gathering evidence and things like that. But the deeper down the rabbit hole you get from this, you realise that probably won't do you much good, And I'm going to do a load of films because I think I've learned a hell of a lot. But I think this is one of the most useful things is how I've been sort of implementing my mind, because it's the most powerful thing that you've got to defend yourself against this, And as some of you probably know, my harassment comes in terms of like people make repetitive noises at me, people cough at me and they clear their throat at me deliberately. But what I've been doing is sort of recognising my faults and recognising where sometimes, some days you can just deal with it really well, and it just goes straight through you. It's like sometimes when I go out for a drink and I'm happy, I don't even realise they're harassing me till I get home and I think, oh yeah, there was people in there harassing me, but I was so kind of happy in myself, and I was chatting with people, and I was sort of forward looking and that in myself, that it was going straight through me, And I had the same thing on the other day on a plane. I had this girl sat right behind me. She was coughing all the way, and there's a 9-hour flight, and it just didn't have no effect on me, because I think because of my state of mind and because of what I was doing. But I'm going to go into that, So my first thing I want to talk about is thinking about the past and dwelling on past harassment, because it's something that I used to do that I realise is a massive mistake. Because let's say that I go out into town and I get a load of people harassing me, it annoys me, and then I get home in the evening and I dwell on it and I think about it, and I think about what I should have done, what I could have done about it, and things like that, And what I've realised is not to ever think about past harassment, because when they actually harass you, it doesn't affect you that well, I don't think. But if you think about it later on that day or whatever in the future, it's like being harassed again. So they'll harass you once, and every time you think about it, it's like you're being harassed again. So never allow yourself to think about it. And a lot of this is going to come down to mind control and really learning to control your mind, Okay, so never do that. And what you need to do instead is just think about the present, or think about the future in a positive way, Okay, and just reject all negative thoughts, You must have loads of good times, happy times in your life that you can think about, and just have a bag full of them that you can always draw on, and it's going to sort you out, because a lot of this is in your mind, and I'm not saying it's not happening, of course it's happening, but a lot of the harassment is happening inside your mind, Okay. So another trick that I've learnt to do is I'll be walking down the street or something, someone will cough at me, and I imagine that moment as a page in a book, and in my mind's eye, I rip the page out of the book and throw it away. And it sounds like it might not work or something, but it works. It works really well. And the more you practice these techniques and try them out, the more you realise how really effective they are, And another method that I've come to start using is I imagine time as a line. Okay, and this can be a circle or a straight line. And the moment in time that you're at is just like a cursor, just like a little point, a marker. Okay, that says this is now, and it's moving along that line. And when you get harassed, okay, what you need to do is visualise in your mind, pressing delete on a keyboard, and everything behind that marker point being deleted. And that works as well, the same as the page in the book works. You're basically deleting history, you know. It's like deleting all the rubbish off your computer, you know, and you're deleting all that harassment that's happened, or that particular harassment that's happened to you. And it's just gone, you know. And as long as you don't dwell on it and think about it again, just delete it and move on. Think about the present or the future. Okay. And another thing, this is what I was doing on the plane, was I was reading a book. And I think it's partly the book that I was reading, which was Homer at the Iliad, which is it's a really great book. It's got like all the old gods from Greece in it, because I'm researching that as well at the moment, you know. And it's very hard to read, you know. It's like takes a lot of concentration. And that's what I was doing on the plane that I was talking about earlier. I was reading this book, and I had this woman behind me harassing me all the way there, and she couldn't do nothing to me. My heart rate wasn't rising up, my blood pressure wasn't going. I wasn't getting angry because I just was reading this book. And I think the concentration level was so high that there was no room in my mind for that harassment to be in there, you know. So I think a lot of it has to do with, if your mind is open to it, you're not concentrating on something else, and then that harassment will go in there, you know. Okay, another thing that I like to do now, really works well, is to feel sorry for the harassers. Because if you visualise them as being sort of better than you and above you, that makes you scared. And whether you get scared or not, or whether you're a brave person, which I am, it doesn't matter. It's a physiological reaction. It's a fight and flight, okay? So if you imagine them as aggressors above you, and there's loads of them, and they're all against you, then that will make your heart start beating really fast. It will make you angry. It will get you in the fight and flight, you know. But if you feel sorry for them, like they're your kids, like they're your naughty children or something like that, the harassment isn't nearly as effective. In fact, I wouldn't say it's effective at all, you know. This technique is like really powerful, you know, and you can mix up these techniques as well. Use them all, you know. Really works well. Okay, the last one I got is this. Okay, you imagine a glowing ball of light about the same size as your head, coming up out of the top of your head, so maybe about a metre above your head. And this ball of light, okay, emanates like a force field. And maybe this force field goes out about 3-4 metres. And in your mind's eye, you imagine that this force field rejects all these noises that you don't want to hear, like the harassment noises, whatever's happening to you. You imagine in your mind's eye that it's defending you against it, and it works. You know, it really works. This is all going to link in like with some future videos that I'm doing, because I'm actually having a spiritual awakening, you know. This harassment, I think, has forced me into a spiritual awakening. And I'm going to be talking a lot about it, you know. I've basically buried myself in it, finding out as much as I can about it, because I suspect, like a lot of other people, that this is going to be happening to as well, you know. I'm going to be talking more about Rh negative blood, because this harassment is definitely to do with that, you know. I was getting confused. I thought it was the Church of Scientology and that, but don't get confused, because this is because of who we are, you know. This is because of your blood, basically. So it's nothing that you've done wrong, you know. Don't ever blame yourself, you know. Okay, so I'm gonna leave this video there, you know, and But I'm going to have another session of making some more videos and stuff, you know. So look out for that. All right, I'll see you.